Let's go Falcons! Coming up with the latest Falcons news, we have a player in the pipeline that's generating a lot of buzz. Will he be a good addition to the roster? We'll see that and more in this video, so be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new here to stay informed. Now, let's talk about the latest trade buzz circulating around the Atlanta Falcons. NFL insider Maurice Moton of Bleacher Report projects that the Falcons could make a move for Philadelphia Eagles edge rusher Bryce Huff this offseason. The suggested trade? 2025 Day 3 draft picks in exchange for the 26-year-old pass rusher. Moton's reasoning makes sense. The Eagles signed Huff to a hefty 3-year, $51.1 million deal with $34 million guaranteed, but the results haven't matched the salary. Huff has struggled with injuries, missing 11 games in 2024, and when he has been on the field, the production has been lacking, just 13 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 8 pressures in 6 games. That's a steep drop from his breakout 2023 season, where he recorded 10 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, and 21 quarterback hits. Interestingly, the Falcons have shown a history of being aggressive in fixing their pass rush through trades. Remember last offseason when Atlanta acquired Matthew Judon? That experiment also didn't have the impact fans were hoping for, as Judon finished the year with just 5.5 sacks and 7 tackles for loss in 17 games. While Judon was meant to be a veteran anchor while the young defensive lineman developed, the results were disappointing, leaving the Falcons near the bottom of the league in sacks, 31st in 2024, to be exact. So the question is, should Atlanta really take another chance on a struggling edge rusher? There's no denying Huff's talent. His 2023 numbers speak for themselves. But outside of that season, his production has been inconsistent, never topping 3.5 sacks in any other campaign. Plus, his hefty contract could complicate things for general manager Terry Fontenot, especially with limited cap space for 2025. That said, the Falcons' defensive struggles are no secret. They desperately need to improve their pass rush to complement the burgeoning offensive talent built around Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Michael Penix Jr. If the coaching staff believes Huff can rediscover his 2023 form, acquiring him for minimal draft capital could be a low-risk, high-reward move. The Eagles' willingness to part ways with Huff is becoming clearer, especially after his limited snap count in the NFC wild-card game against the Packers. With the Falcons looking to turn the page and finally break their 7-year playoff drought, adding another piece to the defensive front may be necessary. But what do you think, Falcons fans? Is Bryce Huff worth the trade? Should Atlanta explore other options to improve the pass rush? The 2024 season didn't end the way we hoped, and now the Falcons are facing a pivotal offseason with plenty of familiar questions. While the quarterback situation appears to be finally stabilizing with Michael Penix Jr. taking over, the defense, especially the pass rush, remains a serious concern. Atlanta finished the season 31st in sacks with just 31. That's simply not good enough if we want to compete in the NFC South. PFF recently highlighted that the Falcons need to focus on finding pass rush help as their top priority. And it's hard to argue with that when the numbers speak for themselves. Atlanta finished in the bottom 3 in pass rush grade, pressure rate, and pass rush win rate. That's actually a step back from the 2023 season when they were still struggling but ranked slightly higher. Caden Ellis was our highest-rated pass rusher, yes, a linebacker, not a defensive lineman. There's some hope on the horizon with third-round pick Bralin Trice set to return after missing his rookie season due to injury. But let's be real, relying on a single draft pick to fix this pass rush isn't going to be enough. The Falcons have the 15th overall pick in the 2025 draft, and PFF suggests using it to take the best pass rusher available. But there's also the issue of cap space, especially with Kirk Cousins' future uncertain. Speaking of Cousins, let's talk about the quarterback situation. After signing a massive 4-year, $180 million contract, Cousins was supposed to be the stabilizing force this franchise needed. And early on, he was. The Falcons started the season 6-3, leading the NFC South and looking like a playoff contender. But then things got complicated. Cousins hit a rough patch, leading to a 1-4 slide that forced the team to make a change with 3 games remaining. Enter rookie Michael Penix Jr. The original plan was to let him sit and learn for a year or 2 behind Cousins. But plans changed, and Penix was thrust into the spotlight sooner than expected. He showed promise, finishing 1-2 as a starter, including a home win against the Giants and 2 close overtime losses. It was enough for coach Raheem Morris to express confidence in Penix as the future leader of the offense. So what does this mean for Cousins? He's still under contract, and the team has made it clear it has no plans to release him. But with a no-trade clause, moving him won't be easy either. If he stays, he'll be the highest-paid backup in the league, accounting for 14.4% of the Falcons' 2025 salary cap. It's a tough situation financially, but the front office insists it's prepared to do so, even if it means keeping Cousins as insurance behind Penix. Bottom line, Falcons fans, this offseason is all about finding balance. The defense needs a serious overhaul, especially when it comes to rushing the passer. And the quarterback room needs clarity on Cousins' future. The pieces are there, but the front office has work to do to get this team back into playoff contention. Now it's your turn, Falcons fans. Do you think targeting a pass rusher in the first round is the right decision? Should the team keep Cousins or do whatever it takes to move him? The Atlanta Falcons find themselves in a complicated situation with quarterback Kirk Cousins. Just a few months ago, Cousins was leading the offense, but after a rough stretch in which he threw just one touchdown against 9 interceptions, the team had no choice but to bench him after Week 15. Rookie Michael Penix Jr., last April's first-round pick, has stepped in and shown enough promise in his last 3 starts to solidify himself as the starting quarterback going forward. But here's the big question: what happens next with Cousins? The Falcons have 3 options, and none of them are simple. They can trade him, cut him, or keep him as a backup. Falcons GM Terry Fontenot openly acknowledged how complex this situation is, saying, "There are a lot of layers to this, and we'll deal with them as they come." Let's break down those layers. Trading Cousins seems like the most favorable outcome for Atlanta, but it comes with one major hurdle: his no-trade clause. Cousins has complete control over where he goes, and let's be honest, why would he agree to a deal that takes assets away from his future team? If he refuses, that leaves Atlanta with 2 options: cut him or keep him. Releasing Cousins may seem simple, but it's painful financially for the Falcons. If cut, Atlanta would still be on the hook for $27.50 or $37.5 million, depending on whether he's still on the roster after March 17th, when his $10 million signing bonus kicks in. In that scenario, Cousins could follow Russell Wilson's lead by signing a new deal for the veteran's minimum and still receive a hefty payday from Atlanta. That brings us to the third option: keeping Cousins on the roster as a backup. Fontenot emphasized that the team is very comfortable with that possibility, saying, "Kirk's a great guy. He's been a great support for Mike, a great teammate, a great support for everybody in the building." However, paying a lot for a backup quarterback is a tough pill to swallow when you're trying to build a competitive roster. Cousins' 2024 stats weren't terrible overall: 66.9% completions, 3,508 yards, 18 touchdowns. But those 16 interceptions and late-season collapse make it clear why the Falcons made the move for Penix. What's still unclear is how Cousins feels about his future in Atlanta. Since being benched, he's remained tight-lipped about his next move, leaving the Falcons front office to speak on his behalf. So now, we want to hear from you, Falcons fans. What do you think is the best move for the team? Should Atlanta keep Cousins as an expensive insurance policy? Or is it time to move on entirely? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to hit that like and subscribe button to stay up to date with all the latest news. Go Falcons!